Lean, lean is a methodology. It's just a methodology that evaluates processes with a focus on how you can improve the speed and how you can improve the efficiency. You need not worry how I'll go and do lean in my company. Just imagine, just go through what are the processes. In your childhood, you would have done the flow charting, right? How you go to the class, how do you do your homework, then you come back. It's a small flow charting. Same way, you try to put a flow charting of your process. That is how it is now. Now, where it is going to take much of your time, which process is taking much of your time, which is making you to do the work repeatedly, then when you focus where the problem is occurring, you can exactly tap the point where it is really hitting your goal. We'll see one by one in the second session. So I'm just giving you a preliminary overview of what Lean and Six Sigma is, so that we can have more examples in the second. So Lean is, remember, it is just to focusing what is of value to the customer you're going to do. Separate non-value added from the value added. You try to map the actions required to produce. That is, you put the value stream. That is nothing but your flow charting of your process. Eliminate activities that do not move the product closer to its final form. Make the remaining value added activities flow smoothly. Produce only what customers need. That's how the safety stock or replenishment from the suppliers in and around, you bring them close to your organization, or what is required, what are the tools that is required, so that that can be only when if in the examples of car production, there are so many customized cars. Only when there is a pull. So I saw someone was telling about being in the industry for a long time in supply chain management. That's a very beautiful process, connecting from suppliers to customers. And how a supply chain works is, if it is more pull oriented, it gives lot of benefits to the organization in knowing exactly the voice of the customer, how they want, what they need, and then produce. For that, you try to bring in just in time concepts or Kanban concepts, or you try to pull in quality checks at supplier end, or you bring in a very close Nokia brought all its suppliers near the SEZ zone, so that they can give the required material during the pull. Now we are seeing lot of issues in the car companies, and the other automobile companies are facing because of semiconductor issues. Though there is a pull concept that is happening, the semiconductor unavailability is really hitting the industry. So there could be a disadvantage in a pull concept, as well as there could be an advantage in a push concept. Now, if you see in a departmental store, near the billing department, there could be the breads that is being kept. That is a push. You know what is the market demand of the day, and you try to push the consumables, and you make them to remember by keeping it, even if they forget, you make them to remember by placing the bread near your billing center. That's a marketing technique. So that's a push concept. So the supply chain management really needs to be looked in for understanding the value, what is understanding lean, to give what is the value to the customer, and how you will remove the non-value added from your process. Now, I've just taken a small example from healthcare, because during Corona times, it will be everyone, we have undergone a lot of tests, whether we are positive or negative. So just I thought I'll use this common example. So before to identify the value added and non-value added activities. So what is actually value added when you are going to take a Corona test? You need to take the vitals. That will be sent for the examination, and you will be very anxiously waiting for the results. These 3 steps alone is value added, right? What are the non-value added? You are trying to make an appointment, you are trying to fix up a hospital, then you find out people should be ready to take you. If you're running with high fever and cough, there may not be any transportation voluntary from anyone to pick you. There's so many issues which is not adding any value to giving positive or negative result to your test. If these 3 steps can be made available, your next do. There could be a possibility that whether that is cost effective or not cost effective, but whatever, or you're going and standing in the parking when you're going to put vaccination, you're made to wait for such a long time in the parking area. That doesn't add any value to the customer. You are the customer, the patient is the customer. Or if you're not a patient, you're just gone for a vaccination. Waiting time is non-value adding activity. Similarly, what happens in the lab, whether the lab technician took leave, or there was a substitute for the lab technician, or the main person was available, or it was too crowded, or that doesn't add any value to the customer. So how will you remove, how will you target this non-value added time is seen as a waste for the customer, waste by the customer who does not want all these things. Just go, take, and give me the result. How fast that can be? Who will do it properly? And what is the quality way? Which is the best way? Which is the fastest way to that hospital, to that clinic, to that doctor? People rush in, they have the more customers or patients towards them. So how you try to remove the waste is focused by lean. So how you try to learn to see the waste, 8 types of waste will be seeing soon in the second session. So now we have seen the lean. Now what is Six Sigma? I was telling you, right? Any variation from your target is seen as a problem. And that problem becomes an opportunity for your improvement. Don't get panicked with this normalization curve. I'll tell you a very, very, very simple example to understand Six Sigma. All of us drive cars, right? We want to go and park in some place. When we come back from our office, we want to park. Assume we are parking inside a garage. What happens? The garage has 2 walls, and you want to park inside the garage. Will you be parking in the same place exactly at the center every day? Slightly 1 mm or 2 mm, you will be either going on the left or going on the right. Still you are between the walls. When you start crashing towards the walls, it becomes a problem. But as you do the process on and of parking your car every day, slowly the variation of moving 1 mm this way or 2 mm or 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter away here and left and right, you start parking in a perfect center way, because that becomes practice. You start concentrating, because when you park, assume when you park too close to the wall on the right hand side, you cannot get out of your door, you cannot get out of your car. Then you take in the initial phases, you take the car outside again, you do a reverse and you come to the front and you try to park in the center. Similarly, when you try to apply Six Sigma concept, and when this is the customer specification, still there is room for improvement so that when you improve your, when you reduce your variation and when you improve on your surface finish, you improve on your process, you get lot of time for your improvement, your personal improvement or professional improvement. And these are the tools which you are going to be told in Six Sigma. This is just tools. It's going to be fun. You wherever you feel that's going above your head, you can always ask. You can shoot up the question to the trainer, either through a chat or WhatsApp, so that we can give you a very customized answer, whether it is pharmacy or supply chain or a manufacturing. When you shoot up your problems, this is the problem I'm having, this is the variation that is really troubling me, this is the particular area which is taking lots and lots of time out of my shift or my day. My day goes in breaking my head into this particular problem. These beautiful methodologies are going to be focused by other trainers during when the methodologies are being told to you. Just apply one particular problem when they are telling you at the end of the day. Try to apply one particular small problem, like as I told, a car. You can even apply a home, if you're facing any particular issue at even getting ready to the office. Probably the fires could be the problem. You're not putting the key at the same place every day, so that without your consciousness, you can pick up the key next day to go to the car. So these are the small examples which you can very easily apply to your manufacturing process. The fires applies to your tools. The fires applies, the visual management thing helps us to put the visual boards that can really help you, where the tools are shadow boards. Shadow boards, if you see, are being put up in so many manufacturing companies, so that when a tool is missing, probably you can pick it up or you will know when to replace it, that it has not been replaced before the particular worker is leaving. Or when the supply chain happens, when a particular material is going below the safety stock, there is an alert, and your ERP is perfectly fine tuned so that it will raise the purchase order to the highest ranked supplier based on various parameters, the ABC analysis. All these are proactive approaches. So this Lean Six Sigma is really going to help you to give you the best proactive approach to solve your problems, which you will be seeing as an opportunity for improvement, which gives so much of confidence for you to fall in the 3 C's. Reduce the cycle time, then reduce the cost, improve your customer satisfaction, which is the ultimate one. So Six Sigma concepts are nothing but you need not worry about all these normalization processes and seeing all the figures, because oh my God, I need to apply all these graphs. I don't know whether I'll be comfortable at the end of the day. I need to sit and do all this. It's going to be very, very easy, like a cakewalk. So I'm just giving you one worldwide example. It's just an improvement to show you how good it will. If you're just forget that 3.8 Sigma or 6 Sigma, forget the title. What will happen when 99% you're good? You're trying to give a slightest improvement to 99.99. How good it becomes? This is a small survey that was taken across the globe. 20,000 articles of mail lost per hour in US, 7 articles of mail lost per hour. It reduced so much by 0.9 percentage increase. So assume someone goes to a surgery and the doctor says, I'm sorry, I did 1,000 surgeries perfectly. It was just one surgery that I missed out wrongly, that I kept the scissors inside the stomach. Is it acceptable? No. This is where the high quality of applying methodologies of being consistently correct, consistently proper, consistently to improve, for your personal and professional improvement. So what is Six Sigma? It's just a vision. Don't start worrying about how the metrics are. It's just a vision. How you want to move to the highest quality. Just imagine the surgery. I don't want to be operated on a wrong surgery. Similarly, any product does not want to lose its glow because of our wrong operations on it in a manufacturing company. And we do not want any customer to receive a wrong product and become a bad mouther about us. So how you will apply the metrics to improve yourself, how you will benchmark your products and process capability for comparison to best in class. Everyone wants to look best in class, perform best in class, to live best in class. So you need to have benchmark so that the tools and methods to help us measure, analyze, improve, and control our process happens. So how we start moving in various Six Sigma levels, you just remember that when you're given 1 million opportunity, you just do, there's only a 3.4 defects per million. But if it is a surgery, no one wants to be in that 3.4. So it depends upon the criticality of the processes also. So it depends upon how fast it reaches the customer. It depends upon the hitting weightage of the product inside the market. Assume when you're driving a car, you got a defect, there's a defect in the airbag. It doesn't open. What happens? You cannot go and stand. I was working with a company that was producing a huge BOP, blowout preventers. That is that. So this will what will happen is this will pump the oil from 10,000 kilometers from the bottom of the sea. With so much of pressure, it will come out. Okay, and it cannot be maintained every year. The maintenance engineer cannot be sent 10,000 kilometers below at the bottom of the sea to repair the blowout preventer. So imagine the quality level that needs to be put into the minds of the design engineers who are designing the blowout preventers, which will be so huge like a White House. One product will be so huge like a White House that will be sitting on the bed of the sea, and you cannot repair it. Once what happened is the blowout preventer of our competitor, it burst off. It burst off in the middle of the sea. You know what happened? 3 countries sued the company because the oil got spilled out and it spoiled the entire sea environment. It killed all the mammals inside the sea, the fish, all the living entities that was inside the sea got killed. And it really polluted the shores of the very 3 beautiful countries. And the company was made bankrupt because it was continuously paying the attorneys, continuously paying the for the cleaning up activities, continuously fighting the cases. So this is the importance of the quality level you need to maintain when you are really trying to. You may be paying very high for the BOP, blowout preventers. So that gives a lot of profit to the company. But what happens when the defect hits them? It could even make the companies and the employees, most of the employees lost the job. So with this, I would like to request all of you to take a small break before we